My Sims 2 university system is quite detailed. I don't expect anybody to follow my university playstyle rules to a T. This video is just more about giving you guys general gameplay ideas for The Sims 2 University and also a little insight into how I kind of put university together in order to make it the most fun for me, while also including a sense of realism. So if you guys are interested, let's just get right into the video. This video is split into 3 parts. Part 1 is my general playstyle rules. Part 2 is my spreadsheet I use specifically for tracking The Sims 2 University. Part 3 is mods I use for University that really enrich the gameplay and give it a sense of realism. Part 1, my general Sims 2 University playstyle rules. How I pick a university for my sim is unique to each sim. I do have all 3 EA vanilla universities, so Academy Latour, Sims State University, and La Fiesta Tech. To kind of put my system of how I pick what sim goes to which university, I will put it in perspective with the pre-mades of the Sims 2 neighborhood of Pleasant View. So any wealthy children, say like any children with the last name Goth, like little Isabel Goth here, who is the daughter of Mortimer Goth and Dina Caliente, or Dina Goth as she is now, would attend the prestigious school of Academy Latour. This school just gives me your grandpa and his grandpa and his grandpa and his grandpa who attended Academy Latour. It is a very legacy-esque sort of neighborhood in my opinion. Middle-class families like Dirk here and his wife Katie, who have little Naomi Dreamer and Zaya Dreamer and baby Everett, they would attend a university like Sim State University, and you could maybe even go ahead and say students that attend this get reduced tuition because it is a state school, and that's like a thing we have here in America. If you attend a state-run school, it's typically a lot cheaper than attending a private university. If we're going by this system, you could say that the lower middle class families, maybe like the broke family, would attend La Fiesta Tech, but often if I am playing a family that doesn't have too much money, like base game Dustin broke, he was working instead of doing his homework, so he really didn't have the opportunity to go to university. And nowadays I use La Fiesta Tech as a wild card to switch up my university gameplay if I want to play something different. My Dustin broke unfortunately did not get the opportunity to go to university. He was working too hard for his family and his grades just weren't there. Now he lives here with his brother. Bo broke. Bo got to go though, fortunately. Brandy was in a little bit of a better financial situation by the time she had Bo. So fortunately, Bo was able to go, but Dustin was not. And he has a lot of resentment for that, actually. If I go over here to his memories, he has a negative memory that he never went to college. I missed my chance to get a higher education. I wish I had gone to college as a young adult. Oh, Dustin, I'm sorry. La Fiesta Tech is also a really great university to add if you are going to be playing Strange Town, because La Fiesta Tech is a desert. You can say that maybe the town over from Strange Town is La Fiesta Tech, and because Strange Town is such a small town, I feel like maybe they wouldn't have access to all the universities like Academy Latour and Sim State University like Pleasant View does. So La Fiesta Tech and Strange Town really do work in tandem and they work really well together. In vanilla Sims 2, 24 sim days is how long it takes for your sim to complete an entire degree. 24 sim days. That means you would be stuck in the dorm or apartments or wherever you choose to live for 24 sim days. That is a long time to be playing on one family or one sim to complete something like a college degree. That's too long for my taste, so I actually have the mod called Semester Changes by Saijon, which takes that 24 number from vanilla Sims 2 University and breaks it down into 8 days. That means your sim will get their degree in 8 sim days. I actually just moved this sim into the dorm, and as you can see, she has 46 hours until her final exam. So that means that the game will significantly accelerate your sim. Normally you would have 72 hours until your sim has their final exam, but my sim only has 45 hours left. That means that you have to learn skills, do things, and really just be on your their A game and paying attention, because we don't have time to fool around anymore if you decide to use this mod. In addition, I also have another mod by Saijon called Revised Majors, which changes the university majors so they more closely align to the relevant careers for each major. Both semester changes and revised majors by Saijon will be covered more deeply in the mod section of this video. So our example sim here, Kim, I don't know, I must have been thinking about the Jenners and Kardashians because her name is literally Kim Jenner. Anyways, she is a romance sim. Now, some sims in The Sims 2 are more apt to study and do things like college related in order to improve their skills and grades and whatnot, but Kim is a romance sim, which means that a lot of her wants are going to relate to romance. Of course, this is kind of a poor example because she does have some wants like writing her term paper or doing her assignments, but later in her college degree, let's say she doesn't want to do these things and all she wants to do is be her true romance himself and go out on dates and kiss Sims and woohoo with Sims, and she has no wants that relate to her college major, then I don't do any college wants. I play what is called wants based. Not all Sims will graduate university in this case. If a Sim doesn't want to learn their skills in here in order for their degree to advance or write term papers, and then that causes them to not meet the denotated marks on their performance meter, they flunk out. Simple as that. In my eyes, this kind of correlates to how some people just decide college is not for them, and hey, that's okay. College is not for everybody, and I like to have that opportunity in The Sims 2 as well. I don't know how many of you this rule will apply to, but I'm from America. University is quite expensive here. My Sims unfortunately don't get free university in my game. For every single Sim, university costs a flat rate of 10k simoleons. Of course, this is not a perfect system, but this 10k can be offset by any grants or scholarships my Sim earns when they are in university, which I do note down after every final exam they take and before they even get into university if they earn any grants or scholarships, which I'll show how I note that down in the next section of this video. You may also be saying to yourself, Maddie, yeah, you just put this figurative 10k number on their spreadsheet. No. I actually use Saijon's loan jar, which will track the 10k simoleons, and the cool thing about this is this 10k simoleons that goes into this loan jar will then also be added to your Sims's bank account down here, and on top of that it will also gain interest. By default it is 3% per day. I will show how to use this and how I use this in my game in the mod section of this video. Of course, there are always exceptions to this rule. So for example, this is Belladonna Lothario, who is the daughter of Dawn and Cassandra, and this is her twin or her triplet sister, because yes, they're a set of 4. That was tough getting them through. Because they are from a rich family, even though they are not living with their family anymore, Dawn and Cassandra, I do just say that they were legacy students at the university they attended, so they basically paid nothing, and what they did have to pay, Cassandra and Dawn took it out of their wallet to pay for all of their kids to go to university, because of course there are exceptions to how I play the game, and I feel like this is probably the most realistic way to kind of get across the message that even in The Sims 2 there are Sims that will get by for free because they are rich. The next one of my gameplay rules may take a little bit of an explanation here, so I went to the Pleasant household in a brand new install of The Sims 2 Pleasant View to kind of illustrate how this works. Let's say in this save that Lilith and Angela are the oldest teenagers in their generation. So out of all their generation of teenagers, that includes Dirk, that includes Dustin, you know, their peers basically. They have 10 days till they become a young adult or an adult if I choose not to send them to university. That means that there is going to be an age gap that is not going to be there had I sent Dirk, Dustin, and Lilith and Angela all to university at the same time, because Dustin and Dirk are all separate ages. This generation of teenagers has a variety of ages, and Dirk is is among the youngest. If I were to send Dirk, Dustin, Angela, and Lilith to university at the same time and graduate them all at the same time, this age gap that they have would not be retained. It is only a couple years apart, admittedly. So in this case, because I like to maintain that age difference, I drop Sims into the university household playthrough according to how many years they are apart. In my game, if Sims are 1 day apart in my age system, this would then make them a year apart, and this carries over to university as well. Because Lilith and Angela are a year older than Dustin broke, I would play through 1 year of Lilith and Angela's university education, and then and only then I would add Dustin into the playthrough upon the first day of Lilith and Angela's sophomore year. And then finally, 1 year later, which would make Lilith and Angela in their junior year of university, I would then add Dirk because he's the baby of his generation in order to maintain their age gap. This is kind of a complicated way of doing things. Yes, I do understand that. And of course, it is like literally a year, so it really doesn't matter, but I am just crazy about keeping the ages in sync and things like that. The last topic that I wanted to broach on was the frat and sorority system in The Sims 2. Despite having such a short university system, you know, the 8 sim days versus the Sims 2 University's vanilla 24 sim days, if one of my Sims wants to join a frat or sorority, I let them. One problem with doing this, you'll have to take on playing the entire already pre-made Greek house members, but I just tend to ignore them in my own gameplay. Unfortunately, this would also mean if you break off one sim from your main university household and play them in the Greek house, you would then theoretically be playing 2 separate university rotations. This really doesn't bother me though, as I really like the Greek stuff in The Sims 2 and I think it's fleshed out pretty well, so I just suck it up and play 2 separate university rotations. Part 2, my Sims 2 University Spreadsheet. The purpose of a spreadsheet in The Sims 2 is to track vital information about your neighborhood. Things like your Sims' ages, their zodiac signs, careers, and love interests. If you're familiar with my Sims 2 content, I use a moderately sized spreadsheet in my regular Sims 2 neighborhood. However, I'm glad to say when my Sims are at university, since it is such a shorter time period, I use a much smaller spreadsheet just to jot down important information about my Sims that may be pertinent while they're at university. I use the spreadsheet made by Pleasant Sims, and my spreadsheet originally looked like this. It has kind of ballooned to many households and lots of more names than the original Pleasant View has. Yes, it is quite hard to get through this, but that's another conversation for another day. But here on the bottom, I have my original Pleasant View spreadsheet, and then you can add separate sheets but link them to your one like main sheet. So I have a university sheet here, which has some things up here. Obviously it's empty because I have no kids in university right now. Things that I notate sometimes, I'll just go ahead and just Control C their name and Control V and then just format it nicely. Day in original hood is the day that I sent them on. There's probably a better way that I, could word this. Day sent in original hood. There we go. This would be the area for any scholarships or grants my Sims earn while they are in university. So for example, here I notated on Griffin that he had all of these from, getting good grades in university and so on and so forth. I would add that whole value up and let's just say it was like 4,000. That would then go towards his overall loan of 10,000 simoleons, which as I mentioned, every sim in my game does pay 10,000 simoleons in order to go to university unless they're a rich kid. Now this is an extra tab I have here and it's probably not going to mean much. Put them in dorm on what day in relation to leader sim. It's a little confusing. Let me explain myself. So this is only useful if you're playing with multiple Sims in one university house. As I talked about earlier, I am a big proponent of maintaining ages across universities, so my Sims maintain, they're 2 years apart, 3 years apart, 4 years apart, etc. Let's grab another Sim here. Let's say that Everett also goes to university when he ages up. So I would then fill out Everett's information here, and as you can work out here, I sent these Sims 2 days apart. Chris was sent on a Friday and Everett was sent on a Sunday. day, which would make them 2 sim days apart, or 2 years in my aging system. I would then go ahead and put Everett into the university household only on Chris's first day of his second year, or his sophomore year. So that would go ahead and maintain their 2-year or 2-day difference in age. Of course, this gets a lot more complicated the further amount of sims you go down, but usually I'm only playing with 3 to 4 university kids per playthrough. Of course, there is another way. What you could do is, as soon as you send a sim to university, you could just go ahead and play them and then place them back in the main hood when you're finished playing with them. But I don't like to play split up like that. I like to play my university rotations all in one go. So now that I've kind of explained my method to my madness here, what would I do after I finish these sims? Well, there isn't really much information here that I would need, but what I would go ahead and do at this point is I would subtract their scholarships and grants from their loans and then notate that on their main spreadsheet here in the main hoods. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions about my spreadsheet or my method to my madness. Of course, you don't have to go this crazy and maintaining ages and things like that. I'm just really anal about that kind of stuff. Part 3, the best university related mods. Before I jump into going over all my mods in this section, I just want to let you guys know I actually have a Tumblr post where you can find all the links for these mods and in a short explanation of what they do linked in the description box below, so you can use it and follow along as a reference as I go over each one of these. So the first mod I actually already talked about a little bit in this video, but it was Semester Changes by Saijon. This substantially changes how the Sims 2 university system works, so it's more bearable and it's closer to being on the same schedule as the rest of our Sims' ages. So if you come down here in vanilla Sims 2 University, it's gonna say you have 71 hours or 72. It's an hour has passed since we moved in, but 72 hours until the final exam. And my Sim is in her first day of her freshman year. This is way too long. I mean, in 3 days, she's only gonna be halfway through her freshman degree. That's why Semester Changes is so good. It starts your Sim already halfway through their freshman year and accelerates things significantly so you can complete a university degree in a manageable amount of time. One problem that arises if you do use this mod is it will not sync if you make a sim in CAS. So for example, I made this sim in CAS, and also any pre-mades that you play with before you added this mod will not have the brand new accelerated degree. As you can see, mine isn't transferring over for my sim even though I have the mod in my game. So then what I then need is Saijon's debugger, which is a separate mod from the Semester Changes, and it is a buyable object in miscellaneous, and it looks like a pizza box right here. We're gonna buy it and place it down right in our house or our dorm, and we can go over here to university. We can go fix student, and this will make it, if you saw that, it pops up where it should be. So now she is on the new Saijon's schedule, so she will only be in university for 8 days. In addition, Saijon also recommends using the revised majors mod, which I talked about earlier as well. This basically makes it that the university majors are revised, they require new skills, and they're actually relevant to the skills that would be required in the career that your sim could potentially be getting. Now, the last mod that I highly recommend is the later classes mod by Saijon. This works in tandem with all of the 3 other mods that we talked about by Saijon that affect university, and this moves all the morning classes later in the day, so no class starts before noon. Now, if you don't get this mod, you're gonna have your sim miss a class when they move in if you have the Semester Changes mod also by Saijon. So that will move that first class later in the day so your sim doesn't end up missing it, which is super nice. So it's not like your sim is like slacking and not getting their first class in, which could maybe fail them. I don't know, it depends how hard you have your sim study and do their skills and whatever, but if you don't move the classes a little bit later, then you can potentially miss that first class of the day. So the next mod that I use, I kind of already touched upon in this video, but I'm going to show you guys how I actually go ahead and use it. And this, of course, is Saijon's loan jar, which, as I mentioned, is how I work out my Sims' loans. Like I said, unfortunately, they don't don't get a free pass for university. Sorry, Sims. So I have Griffin here. He just graduated. I actually don't remember what he graduated with. I have so many Sims in this town. I don't even remember what degree he got. I'm gonna guess like economics or something because he gives me like major economic bro vibes. But if you go into your buy mode and then you go to miscellaneous, you can find Saijon's loan jar right here. As you can see, it gives you a little spiel. Default interest is 3% per day. It hits every morning at 7 a.m. That's when the interest is calculated, and we're just gonna put it down. It's only 1 simoleon. So you have to have this object and you can't just delete it. If you delete it, then the loans like won't stay and they won't gain interest. This loan jar has to be on the lot. It's not like other mods where you can just delete like the adjuster. It has to actually stay on the lot itself. So if I go over here, I can borrow, I can do some interest rates. I'm gonna put mine at 1% because at least here in the United States, or at least mine are, if you have a government subsidized loan, the interest rates are rather low. So I'm gonna put mine at 1%. And you can also do global billing. Global billing is the neighborhood wide billing rate, which by default is 0%. That's the max's default, and 6 is like absurdly expensive. However, if you don't have Saijon's other mod called bigger bills, this doesn't mean anything. And I don't have that mod because I don't need more bills in my Sims game. My Sims struggle enough as it is. Anyway, so you could just borrow 10k simoleons, which is great and fine, but we have to remember that Griffin did get scholarships and grants when he was at university. So I'm actually going to go ahead and subtract those from Griffin's 10k flat rate amount. As I mentioned, 10k is how much I charge every single Sim that goes to university. If your Sim didn't get any scholarships or grants, you can just ignore what I'm about to do and just have them borrow 10k. By looking at Griffin's spot on my spreadsheet here, luckily I calculated all the grants and scholarships he got, which comes out to 4,600. I'm going to take that 4,600 and subtract it from 10,000, which comes out to 5,400 that Griffin owes me, the Sim government, for his university education. In that case, I'm going to have Griffin borrow 5,000, and then I'm going to have him borrow, I guess, 4 increments of 100. All right, so Griffin just took out 5,400 from the loan jar. If you notice, all that money that we took out from this loan jar then went down here. So this amount down here that just went into our bank account is actually meant for Griffin's education. So I just need to get rid of this money. You could either go in Sim PE and, you know, you'd have to close your game and all that kind of stuff. But actually, if you use the separate mod called Monique's Hacked Computer, you can directly get rid of funds by going under Bank Online, donate money. Then I'm gonna have Griffin donate the 5,400 that he just took out of the loan jar. And donating money doesn't do anything. It has no effect. It just goes right into the void, which is good for us because that's exactly what we want to do. So I'm gonna have Griffin donate all of the money that he just took out. And there we go. So now he has the correct amount in our family funds from back before we started, and his student loans are actually being accounted for. If your Sim didn't earn any scholarships or grants when they went to university, you can just ignore the subtraction part, but I like mine to be correct. So now if I click on the loan jar, I can go over to loan info, and it will say that Griffin has a loan amount of 5,400 simoleons, has a 1% interest rate, and then at 7 a.m. it will give him 54 simoleons tacked on to it 5,400 loan amount. So as you can see, you kind of got to keep up with this. Looks like all the kiddos are home too. You kind of got to keep up with this loan, otherwise the interest can really spiral out of control. I was having a 3% interest rate and that was just way too high. Like it was too much and I wasn't able to have my Sim keep up with it. The next Sims 2 University mod is probably my favorite. It is by the lovely Lemaire here on Mod The Sims, and this is a catch-all mod. If you see me do something in university that isn't in vanilla university, it is probably from this Lemaire mod. Obviously, the biggest pull of this mod is going to be maternity, so Sims can get pregnant when they are at university. Kids can also live on campus. This also adds options to move out via graduating, dropping out, being expelled. This also allows the splitting of funds when one Sim moves out from a dorm, and so on and so forth. This is just such a cool umbrella mod, and it really pushes the limits of The Sims 2 in ways that I really didn't know could exist. I just want to put this out there that this may be a little bit daunting to look at, but I'm going to explain how to install this mod and pick the best settings and best version, because there are multiple versions per option here. So if you notice, there's uni aging, pregnancy, YA, want have child, YA alien pregnancy, so on and so forth. You can see all of these names that I'm highlighting right here. These correspond correspond, if you click on the download tab, these correspond to these right here. Yeah, you don't want to install every single one of these 23 mods. Lemaire has a note here, pick no more than one mod of each kind. So the kind that Lemaire is talking about is these green titles here. These green titles have multiple variations on their download, so you want to pick the best one that suits you. So Lemaire has kind of a plan of attack here, how we're going to kind of get into installing this mod. So you're going to want to go ahead and pick one of each out of all of these options. So first of all, let's go to uni aging. I'm going to go and click on the download tab here, and as you can see on the top, there is uni aging. You're going to pick one out of these three first options here, and you can read a little bit closer about what each one does right below. After that, you would then go to pregnancy YA and go to the download part and choose the best one that works for you. So we have pregnancy YA here. You're gonna pick one out of these two. If we go back here, and you can read about each option here, those two versions. Next one will be want have child, and there are 4 iterations that you can choose here, and those correspond to these 4 on the bottom, and so on and so forth. Now, if you trust my settings and you trust my gameplay style, these are the ones that I have picked according to what I think suits my gameplay the best. So if you don't want to go through all of these and choose the version that you want, here are the ones that I picked. You can pause the video and kind of just make sure you're downloading the corresponding one. So I'll put these right side by side so you can get a little view here. I hope this helps some of you if choosing your own version is too daunting and you're indecisive. I am also indecisive, but I played with these for a while and these are the best settings. This next mod is necessary if you are going to be doing pregnancy and maternity at university. So this just adds maternity outfits available to young adults. Pretty simple. Same as adult students will get a full set of pregnancy clothes, maternity, undies, pajamas, swimming by default without having to buy them first. In unmodded vanilla Sims 2, the game always chooses the sim with the lowest ID number to be the parent in the cinematic when your sim sends their child off to university. Since townies are spawned into the game before your in-game playables and thus have lower neighbor IDs, this means that it will always pick the never moved in townie father to be in the cinematic, even though, you know, he's probably irrelevant at this point and your teen sim has never met him. If the teen is a child of Polynesian technician, no parent may appear, even if the other parent is alive and playable. That's why this mod, Smarter Choice of Parent for Entering College Cinematic, is so good. It chooses the parent that has the highest lifetime relationship with your teen, which will then be inputted into the opening cinematic when your teen is sent off to university and ages up to a young adult. Here I am showing off yet another Lemaire mod. You may notice a pattern here that I love Lemaire mods. This mod allows Sims to have jobs on campus. Both pets and normal Sims, if you download this mod, can now have jobs, part-time and full-time jobs. So once again, this is going to be another mod where you can pick and choose what you want. So you would choose one iteration, one version from each of these green titles here. Personally, I only use 2 mods from this entire list, that being the choose career type, which is this one down here, and I also use jobs in uni for all, which is right up here. Of course, there are more things that you can do with this. Ask before promoting. You can do young adults want and fear work, so on and so forth. Lemaire makes some really cool mods, so you can comb through these if you are interested in things that I just mentioned. This is probably the weirdest glitch that I've seen in The Sims 2, but this mod is a necessity. So you may have noticed if you play The Sims University without this mod, the dormies are stinky like all the time. For some reason, the do assignment interaction is related to hygiene relief for dormy Sims. Dormy Sims will do assignments when what they really need is a shower. This is like the weirdest thing I've ever seen in The Sims 2. I don't know why this happened. Maybe someone can explain this better in the comments, but yeah, when Sims need to take a shower, they instead do their assignments. So this mod fixes that, and you should have a lot less stinky dormies here. I know some people get a little bit confused of how to download from archive.org, so all you have to do is come down here and just hit the zip file. Just download that. It will pop up in your downloads. The stinky dormy fix. Who knew this would be necessary, right? If you have played The Sims 2 with the shorter semesters mod that I have talked about earlier, the final exam time will still pass even though you have a super short window of university in The Sims 2. What this mod does is it prevents that timer, as you can see it says 47 hours to the final exam, from advancing when your sim is on a public lot. This mod will prevent the college timer from progressing on community lots, and it allows it to progress on all residential lots. This lets your student crash nightclubs and cafes as long as they want, or if you want your sims to get the college experience over with, stay home. It comes with an additional benefit of not desynchronizing your sim with other students if only one sim leaves for a community lot. Such a cool mod, so essential. I have 4 computer mods that I think are absolutely essential to the Sims 2 experience of playing university. So the first one is Monique's Hacked Computer. Now this is a super huge mod that doesn't just affect university, but it will affect pretty much everything you can think of. This allows for child support. It allows for Sims to find their own place via computer. It allows them to order groceries and cell phones and electronic gadgets and study skills on the computer. This is a pretty big mod that doesn't just apply to university. This is a super versatile mod. It also allows for bank accounts so you can wire money across towns. Just a really good umbrella category mod that really enriches the Sims 2 university experience. If you want a better explanation of how to use this mod, I can leave this Tumblr post that a lovely simmer made that goes through pretty much all of the options and things you can do with this, and just a really detailed guide. So this is really nice. Anyways, some other mods, because I'm using the computer so much when my sims are sent off to university to write term papers and study skills and everything, I like the Lighten Up mod for brighter computer screens. So you can see this is how it looked before and this is it after. Just really brightens up the screen so you can see what your sim is like actually doing on there. I also have these computer screen defaults by Eddie Sims, so it just upgrades the computer monitor and makes it not so blurry when your sim is using it. If you don't get the brighter computer screen, these will unfortunately still be dark, so they work really nicely together. And then last but not least, I also have the bonus matching university paper default. So this is what it will look like when your sim is writing their term paper, and it won't be like that blank piece of paper that it is in base game Sims 2 University. And the how to install guide, by the way, is right here. You're going to want to read this because this does not go right in your downloads folder, so you can just follow this how to install guide, because believe it or not, these are like a special file. It's not like a package file, it's a .ini file, and it's also a video. Like playing on here is like a video, which is super weird to think about, that this is just like a looping video. Anyway, I just think that's fascinating. My next mod is new turn-ons. So why I included this in here is because it adds the graduated and employed turn-ons. So if your sim likes graduated sims or employed sims or young adult, you can also kind of cover that basis here. This next mod may not be for everybody, but this is pets at university. So your dorm can have a cat or a dog, which I think is so cute, because there have been like so many studies out there that pets really do help students get through university, so you can kind of replicate that in The Sims. And once again, with any Lemaire mod, I would highly recommend reading the how-to. So Lemaire has their standard plan of attack. 1, make sure you have pets in university. Decide which version of this mod you want, and only one of them. I have this one here, pets at university and no auto buy pets. This one makes it so that uncontrolled playables won't autonomously buy pets from pet displays. So this is like, has nothing to do with university, but it's also kind of annoying that this happens. Yeah, another mod that may seem kind of random, but this is Townie Body Diversity. This makes it so that townies spawn with different body shapes. If you didn't know, in vanilla Sims 2, all townies are set to the thin body shape, so this can really give you some diversity in your game. And why I included this one in here is because Townie Body Diversity is also covered by the dormies that you will get. So in addition to like NPCs and Bon Voyage locals and regular townies and dormies and all that kind of stuff, that is covered in this one mod, which is pretty cool. This next mod by Saijon is called There Can Only Be One Professor. So this will make it so the game will only generate one professor rather than 2 professors for each major. This just really cuts down on the amount of sims that you have in your relationships panel. This is not for everybody, I do understand that, but I like to cut down on how many sims my game is generating and all that kind of stuff. And also this is one less professor you have to beg for good grades, so that makes it a lot easier, right? Last but not least, the last mod I have in this video is Lazy Young Adult Animation When Walking Fix. If you don't know, Sims in The Sims 2, when they're young adults, they walk very oddly. I don't know why they walk like that. They just do. Okay, they just do. It was really bothering me. This mod just goes right into your downloads folder and it will fix that weird animation walk that they added. I don't have any words. Anyways guys, that will do it for this video. I hope that you learned something, whether it be from my playstyle section or my mod section or even my spreadsheet section. I hope I could teach you guys something about The Sims 2 University that you can implement and pick up for your own game. If you're interested in how I get my graphics to look all nice and pretty, I have a Sims 2 Ultimate Visual Update guide that will lead you through that entire process, everything I do to make my game all nice and pretty. I also have a Sims 2 fix guide if you are having problems with your Sims 2 game, getting it up and working. Anyways guys, I will catch you all in the next video, and peace out.